Premier Dr. Deolanda Smith, during the 2014 budget address titled Towards Stability and Growth, said that his government averted the global financial crisis and was able to reduce its financial debts. The Premier said the 2014 budget builds on his government achievements over the past 2 years.
3 budgets later, I am proud to say we are turning the corner, as will become evident throughout this address. But most obvious is I just passed a midterm, and having recently materially paid off large amounts of inherited outstanding bills, we are optimistic and are looking forward to a budget that begins to deliver that advantage for our people. The patience of our nation was tested during the first 2 cycles, but the resolve and the resilience of our people have seen us through to today. This budget, Madam Speaker, builds on our past achievements and seeks to continue to foster a vision to build a better Virgin Islands. I am therefore very confident that this budget, Madam Speaker, will help to continue our country's progress towards stability and growth.
Premier Smith said that since his government took office, they have been able to simultaneously build the territory's main economic sectors, tourism and financial services, while still contributing to the reserve fund. But there were challenges.
Madam Speaker, while I firmly believe that the Bvi'S economy has a strong foundation rooted in financial services and tourism, nevertheless, several factors have led to the challenges that the economy has experienced in recent times. These factors include increased competition from other tourism destinations and financial services jurisdictions, increased international scrutiny related to tax and transparency matters, a somewhat frayed physical infrastructure, and difficult, inefficient air access from our major tourism markets. These challenges will continue to test our resolve, but today, Madam Speaker, I assure the people of this territory that my government's economic strategy, which I will outline in this address, is the right approach, and it is placing us once more on a growth trajectory.
The Premier further noted that the 2014 budget reflects a fiscal strategy to reverse the path of unaffordability which the government inherited in 2011 by enhancing revenue and practicing efficient spending.
Madam Speaker, the budget that is here before you today reflects the work done in the fiscal strategy outlined in the medium-term fiscal plan, and is continued evidence of a responsible manner in which we are reversing the path of unaffordability that we found ourselves on when my government took office in 2011, to one that is on a trajectory of long-term fiscal sustainability. They're not perfect, Madam Speaker. It does provide a good balance between the various factors to be considered. To achieve this, Madam Speaker, it was necessary to institute several fiscal measures to enhance revenue and increase expenditure efficiency. As outlined in the fiscal plan, which was tabled in the House in December 2013, the strategy is comprised of 5 main objectives. 1, build reserve fund balance as a means of buffering public finances from unexpected future shocks. 2, manage contingent liabilities. 3, improve the financial management structure within central government and its parastatals. 4, improve the recurrent surplus balance by implementing revenue-generating and expenditure efficiency initiatives. Decrease the overall deficit in 2014 and 2015, and convert the deficit into an overall surplus by 2016. And 5, maintain the borrowing ratios within limits outlined in the protocols for effective financial management.
According to the Premier, specific revenue-generating initiatives are stated in the medium-term fiscal plan and will be brought to the House of Assembly shortly as separate initiatives. Presenting updates on the 2 main economic pillars, tourism and financial services, the Premier said preliminary tourism arrival figures show an increase in overnight visitors of just over 3% compared to 2012. He said with the resurgence in international tourism, a solid performance in the yachting industry, growth in high-end tourism driven by luxury developments and cruise tourism, the BVI could see the growth in tourism arrivals reach the 10% target he had set for the BVI Tours Board.
A resurgence in international tourism, a solid performance in the yachting industry, growth in high-end tourism driven by luxury developments such as Oil Nut Bay, the completion and opening last year of the new and impressive Marriott by the Sea, the reopening of the Great House of Necker and improvements at other properties such as Little Licks Bay, Peter Island and Guana Island, as well as improvements in our small properties, and a more focused marketing strategy on the part of the BVI Tours Board, securing airlift alternatives, and recently more reliable ferry services between Tortola and St. Thomas, have all combined to increase our market share in a very competitive industry. We will continue to make headway and drive growth by tapping into other markets and improving our tourism offerings and infrastructure. Madam Speaker, I am confident that with these efforts and others all combined to increase tourism revenues, we will get to that 10% growth that I have requested.
Similar growth figures were achieved in 2012, where overnight arrivals grew by some 2.6% over that of 2011, and that's according to his 2013 budget address. Turning to financial services, Premier Smith said 2013 has been a challenging year in the sector, and government is considering ways of widening the scope of financial services offerings.
Madam Speaker, 2013 has been a challenging year in the financial services sector, set off by international regulatory changes related to tax transparency and exchange of information and increased competition from other jurisdictions. Company incorporation figures for the first 3 quarters of 2013 are, as a consequence, 15% below that in the same period in 2012. Fortunately, company re-registration figures remain strong, and government revenue collections from incorporation fees have not decreased. However, lower incorporation figures do have implications for the stock level of companies re-registered in the territory annually and future government revenue levels. We are therefore considering ways of widening the scope of our financial services offerings and gradually diversifying the overall economy and government's revenue base.
The Premier says although a further contraction is expected to show up in the final economic statistics for 2013, it is anticipated that BVI will return to economic growth of approximately 1% in 2014. This growth, he says, will be buttressed by increased investment in the physical infrastructure through capital projects such as the cruise pier development, the Terence B International Airport expansion, and others.